everybody, I'm Katallina, and today we're talking about episode 5 of the Misfit of Demon King Academy, Season 2, Core 2. By this point, I think some of you know me well enough to know what my favorite part of this episode was. Not gonna lie, I was genuinely scared for Lei and Misa for a hot second there. But they pulled it off, dealing with this jackass who sacrificed his own child along with the rest of the royal family, and they pulled it off in a way that only Lei and Misa could. Totally crushing their opponent, not through battle process, but rather through the sheer will of their love for one another. This might sound super cheesy, and it might be something that would make some people roll their eyes, but given that we see people resolving things in a variety of different ways inside of this anime, I really love the fact that this is something that they were not afraid to use. I love the fact that so often aspects of this story go back to and tie back to the idea of the connections that you have with other people being one of the most real and true things that you can draw upon, and the importance of that life you have with those real people, and the fact that at the end of the day, what you're fighting for is to be able to continue to be with the people you love. So for me, this really fit into how this show works, and I absolutely adored it. And of course, Anos was basically televising it to the jackass who's been causing so much trouble, and that was just a delicious swirl of icing on the proverbial cake. And of course, Anos had some great moments this week as well, which was fantastic because he was a little more quiet last week. We got some Anoshu, which was pretty good, but it was good to see him more back into the central action and into the fray, because when he gets involved, things tend to get very satisfying. I love what he said about the importance of people believing in a divine power that is actually compassionate toward those who follow it. Because without that, what's the point? This has been one of the philosophical questions that I've mused about for most of my life, and to see Anos bring this up is really cool. I love the fact that the Misfit of Demon King Academy is not afraid to tackle difficult questions that can actually have like philosophical or other ideals and merits. And I think that it's really important for stories to do stuff like that. They don't have to do them all the time. There's definitely time for silliness or time for pure action, but adding a sprinkle of that in can raise the bar of the storytelling so much and can leave the viewer with something to think about. It makes total sense for Anos to bring it up as well, because his character embodies this concept and we see him apply it to situations time and time again within the story. Anos doesn't generally go around trying to make people worship or even admire him. He just does his thing, and that tends to lead to good things, which makes people tend to gravitate toward him. Because that's usually, in the best case and scenario, how that kind of thing works, whether we're talking about some sort of divine force or just about some important social or political leader. A bad leader will tell people, "Follow me or perish." A good leader will be so compelling in their actions that people would willingly follow them into the depths of hell. We're seeing the distinction between those two things when we look at Anos and then look at the person who's trying to challenge him and cause trouble for him in this season's episodes. But of course, Anos isn't always a total softie either. We get a clear case of that when he's dealing with the first guy in the cave, and the guy basically ends up on a first name basis with the soul of Anos' shoe. Given that Misa and Sasha didn't so much as bat an eye, I think it's pretty solidly agreed that the jerk got what he had coming to him. And while we're on that kind of topic, the opening of the episode where people came to tell the hero kids that they're going to fight the dragon was possibly the funniest moment I've seen in anime this week, because Anos, as a Noshu, snaps his fingers and turns them into a literal shield, going, well, that's what they wanted, right? I hate slimy, unappreciative scum characters like this, and these guys got 1000% what they deserved, and I loved every second of it, because, I mean, the whole point of the issue is that if somebody isn't doing something because they want to do it, but instead is doing something because they're being forced to do it, it's never going to be done as well. And so often we see this kind of thing happen to people, and the jerks who set this up and who perpetrate this don't actually get any kind of accountability. And yet here, we see them not only get what would be reasonable accountability, but literally get turned into the shield they were trying to say that these kids were going to be turned into. It was glorious. Last and totally not least, we have Amelia and the Hero Academy students stepping up to face a horde of dragons that are headed straight for their home. Because not getting used as cannon fodder is a separate thing from choosing to defend one's home, and to have the courage to do so in the face of dire odds, no matter how much these characters have been told they're broken, is the true mark of heroism. I love how each major character involved got to play an important role, but my favorite parts were definitely seeing the little blonde-haired guy go to make the holy water, power up, and so that it would do everything, and then how when he failed, Amelia finally taps into the effort needed and finishes the job. The understanding that both students and teacher need each other is something this story has been building up to, and to see it go off like that was fantastic. This was a totally amazing episode, with great moments for so many characters. It was one of those episodes where 20 minutes zipped by like I'd been watching for 2. A "where's the rest of it" episode, in all of the best ways possible. So, what did you guys think of this one? Was there a moment that stood out to you? I'd love to know, so feel free to leave a comment, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!